Now, before we even start this video, I want to say that when I typically do like story times or any videos that I do on my channel, I usually have like an outline of what I'm going to talk about, or like some form of a script, like some form of something. That way I stay on task and all of my thoughts are organized. But the way that this just randomly came to me, I was basically spitting off the dome, like everything that I remember. But I will try to edit everything to where it goes together. I will jump in the story from time to time just to make sure that we're all on the same page. But y'all, get your snack ready. Get your snack ready, because we're in for a doozy. I hope you're ready.
Back it up, I put on the show, I be acting up. If he ain't got no bread, I'm packing up. I need a rich nigga with a bankroll just so I can add it up. Say ho, my nigga got him an a-hole. He gon' listen and do what I say so. He know I'm only after the.
Hi, I'm Tassie and welcome back to my channel. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome home. And if you're a new subscriber, make yourself at home by clicking that subscribe button. So I'm back with another story time. I'm back with another one. Honestly, I didn't think that I was going to do another story time. I had something else planned, but the spirit compelled me to tell this story. Hey, I can't do nothing about that. I know you guys are happy though, because now you get 2 story times. But yeah, this wasn't the plan, but I just, yeah. I listen to the universe now, so I'm gonna tell it. I don't care. I don't even know what I'm gonna title this. I don't even know what the title is for this. Oh my god. It's a crazy story, to say the least though, and we're gonna talk about it because yeah. And it is a story about another previous friend of mine who is obviously no longer a friend of mine. So I'm not gonna keep you guys waiting any longer. You read the title, whatever the title is at this point. So if it sounds like something you're interested in, stay tuned. And with that being said, let's get straight into this video. Okay, so this was during my Central State University days. So this was 2016, 2017. So this involves me and my roommate. It involves some other people too, but they're not here yet, so just wait a minute. And for the remainder of this story, we are going to be referring to my roommate as roommate, because I can't think of another name for her right now, but she's my roommate. Leave it at that. So me and my roommate are obviously freshmen in college, and we're participating in what was called Pirate Week, which is the week that the freshmen come in before everybody else, and you go through like all the little things that freshmen go through. You go to freshman mixers, little parties and gatherings and stuff that they have. You just kind of get a feel of the campus a little bit before school starts, like a week before school starts. And at this particular time, we were practicing for a ceremony that we do at the very beginning of the school year for the freshmen. And it's basically like an initiation process. It's not like anything crazy though, but it's like a candlelight ceremony and stuff like that. So we were like practicing for that candlelight ceremony and like singing one of the school songs or whatever. So from the day we met, me and my roommate have been attached to the hip. So obviously we were predominantly standing next to each other during this whole entire situation. And that is where we met a friend. We're just gonna call him Q. So when we met Q was very charismatic, he was very funny, and he was very outgoing. So we all three just kind of clicked a little bit. We all used to laugh together and it was okay. I don't know exactly how it happened, but we all ended up kicking it with each other one day, and the first time that we linked up with each other, we all went to Applebee's. The only thing that I can really tell you about Q is he obviously, because again, it's going to be somewhere in the title, I just don't know what I'm going to name this yet, but Q was a gay man. He was from a small town in Ohio, and like I said, he was very eccentric, very outgoing, so he did some of everything. Like, I'm pretty sure he did some sports. He was in a few plays before. Like, he was just real out there, real giddy or whatever. And he bonded with my roommate through the fact that they both had completed nursing school while they were in high school, so they all had like a nursing job while they were like 16, 17 years old. But yeah, honestly, that's all I can really say about Q. He was very outgoing and he was funny. Like, that's pretty much it. And we all just got along really, really well. But the problem is that we did not fully understand how messy and how, in a way, dramified Q was. Now, the first incident where I noticed that Q was being kind of messy was when we had linked up with him after he had came somewhere with his other friends that he had met on campus. And he had about like probably 3 other friends. I think it was at least 3 or 4 of them, all women, and they all just so happen to be plus size. Now, I'm gonna be real, I've seen bigger. I've seen bigger, but they were plus size. But like, I just remember that he came back from wherever he came from with them, and they were all keying in each other's face. The girls walked this way. Q came and talked to us and was chilling with us. And as we're like walking away and we're going back to our dorm, he then kind of like whispers it under his breath, and he's like,
I hate riding with fat bitches.
what? And he's just like,
I hate riding with fat bitches. They weighed down my car the whole entire time I was driving. Like, I cannot stand having a big motherfucker in my car.
okay, I don't know how to respond to that. I don't know how to respond to that. But again, like, ain't these your friends? You just met us. Like, I don't, huh? Now, honestly, that alone should have been a red flag. That alone should have been a red flag, but I don't know. I don't know why neither one of us peeped that, but yeah, that was the first discrepancy that I noticed. Now, the second discrepancy that I noticed as well was that Q had a tendency of like trying to compare me and roommate together, and I thought that was very odd as well. So again, me and my roommate, we were very close. We were very drawn to each other, and we just naturally got along. Like, we're still in contact with each other to this day, and we have not been to Central State in like years. But yeah, we were always cool or whatever, and there were certain people that just assumed that me and her were sisters. But he used to always try to compare us, and he always tried to make me like replicate some of the things that my roommate was doing, and I'm just like, okay, that's kind of weird. But again, I'm kind of ignoring it because I'm like, it's kind of petty, so I'm like, whatever. And he wasn't like comparing us as like competition. It's just that like, okay, so like my roommate back in the day, this ain't even doing it justice, but back in the day, my roommate used to wear like really dark lipstick. So this is brown. She used to wear it darker than this, but she used to wear dark lipstick and winged eyeliner. This man wanted me to do the same thing as her, and I'm like, I'm not really like a dark lip type of girl. Like, I've always kind of like bright colors or just gloss on my lips. I do outlines from time to time, and depending on if it gives with the outfit, then yeah, I'll put the whole thing on, you know, have a dark lip. But for the most part, I'm not a dark lip type of girl. Like, I don't really get into the dark makeup period, to be honest. Like, I've tried it, it's alright. But he just felt like because she does it, I'm supposed to do it too. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, that's a little bit odd. So he would do things like that a lot. And that's just an example with the makeup. But he literally used to do it even with the clothes that we wore, or like how I was doing my hair and all types of stuff. And I'm just like, okay, that's odd, but we're just going to ignore that. All right, cool. So let me just say this, because I already know that that's going to be one of the excuses that he's probably going to use. I will admit, especially if y'all already seen like the video I made a long time ago about my first year at Central State. One thing about me during my freshman year is that I can admit that like I low-key was dusty. I was definitely off my game. I'm not even gonna perp to you. I had got a haircut, and my haircut grew out super duper fast, like kind of like, it wasn't like the one that I have now, but you know, like I cut my hair and I never really got a chance to enjoy my actual haircut, because by the time that, you know, I stopped having weather problems outside, my hair had grew out. And we in the middle of nowhere, we have no hair store, we have no nothing. Like I'm pretty much just SOL and just making it work. So my hair low-key looked crazy. My hair was not done consistently like how it was when I was at home. And as far as like my clothes go, I didn't think I was going to be as social as I ended up being when I was in college. So I bought a lot of loungewear. I bought a lot of like sweatsuits, sweatpants, you know, stuff like that. And I just like I just didn't look like me. I just didn't look like myself. And I had gained like so much weight. So like half of the clothes that I even had, majority of them I couldn't fit them. So I literally was thugging it. Like I had sweats, I had like yoga pants and stuff like that. Like I was really chilling. So I'm not even gonna lie, I was dusty. I looked a hot mess. I looked a hot mess. Terrible. But the same breath, it was like, that still doesn't give you the right to treat me the way that you treated me. Because again, it's like, she's her own individual person. I'm my own individual person. Even though I clearly was unhappy with how dusty I was, how you know I don't like being dusty? How you know I don't like the way my hair looked? How you know that? And you going out your way to try to make me a clone of her is weird. But I know him. At this point, I know him. That's going to be one of his excuses that he's going to use, is that like, oh, well, I thought I was helping her out because da-da-da-da-da. No. You knew you wasn't helping. You knew. So let's just cut the BS, okay? So this is another discrepancy that I have with him, but we wouldn't realize how like weird and almost like malicious it was until like way later. So just keep this in mind. Q was on a step team that Central State had, and obviously it was predominantly men. There came a point in time where he went to my roommate and he basically told my roommate like, hey, I can set you up with my bro. I don't know if I want to name him just yet, so just keep in mind that like there was this, we just gonna call him step bro, even though that's weird, but we gonna call him step bro and we understand the context, so it's fine. So Q basically is letting my roommate know that he has a step bro that could potentially be interested in her. He's hyping him up. He's saying like he's very attractive, he's muscular, he's cute, da 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 da. So my roommate is open to getting to know him, dating him. He's starting to feel her a little bit, so they hit it off a little bit. Now, mind you, for a little bit of context, I was in a relationship like my junior year, and it kind of sort of carried into my senior year, but it was enough for me to be drained from it. So like I really did not want to date anybody for a while. Like I can't even lie, y'all. I can't even lie. I was a hot girl 2016. I was a hot girl 2016, 2017. I hope those men are doing great because I broke a few hearts. Not gonna lie. But yeah, like I just wasn't really in the mood to take nobody seriously. I wasn't really in the mood of trying to like intentionally meet anybody new. It's like if I did, I did. If I didn't, I didn't. I just didn't want nothing serious. I didn't want to be tied down to nobody. But again, here he goes trying to compare us, and he then is like,
well, you know, Tassie, I can get you hooked up with one of my step bros too.
and I'm just like, nah, I'm cool. I'm good for right now. But here's another thing about Q. I don't know why he did it to everybody, but I swear it was predominantly me. This man meddled in people's business, especially their relationships, so much. It was so annoying. So when it pertains to me, when I tell you this man, we would just be chatting it up with somebody random. I don't know these people from a can of paint. I don't really have nothing in common with these people. Like we literally are just existing in the same space. There have been so many times where this man has volunteered my number to people. Now y'all know how I am. If I already told y'all the story about that guy that wanted to come over my house after the first day of meeting me, y'all know I'm very particular about my space. Y'all know I'm very particular about people that can get that close to me. Like I don't like it. I was open to it at this time because I was trying to learn and meet new people, and I was trying to be a little bit more social. But again, I don't like for everybody to have access to me that easily. So if I literally just met these people off rip, and the only conversation that we're having is like math, like we're talking about math class or something like that, or we're just talking about something random, why would I want to exchange numbers with this person? Like that's just kind of odd. And I know people do that. I know people do that. But me personally, it's like, why are we exchanging numbers and we talking about hair glue? Why is that worth exchanging a number for? Like that's really stupid. You don't think that's stupid? And when it came to the guys, it was 10 times worse. Like he wanted me to get every single guy's number just because they were attracted to me, or because like I would have a good conversation with them or something. Every guy that would come into my vicinity, he's like,
you should get his number. You should get his number. You should get his number.
What? No. Like why would I get all these people's numbers? That's really weird, bro. So there comes a point in time where I meet this guy, and we're just gonna call him Gumby. You don't even want to know why I call him Gumby, but we're just gonna we'll leave him in a separate story time because it is interesting. I'm not gonna lie. But I meet this guy named Gumby, and for a second it seemed like we were cool. It seemed like we were hitting it off, but we had like a lot of miscommunications between each other. And I'm not gonna point the blame at anybody and say like it's his fault, because I feel like we both were on two different playing fields where our communication was just terrible. So really it's no harm done. It's no harm, no foul. But I meet this guy, right? And I met this guy on my own accord. I actually met this guy along with my roommate, right? And me and him, you know, like I said, we hit it off, but we don't hit it off. But it's like it's complicated or whatever. But nonetheless, like overall, we are cool. And there would be times where we would independently kick it with each other. There came a point in time where I started to kind of like Gumby just a little bit. So I kind of was just like, you know what? I want to go on a date with him and just see where it goes. Now, mind you, this is low-key what we have been doing this whole entire time. It's just that we never called it a date, and we never actually like physically went anywhere. And then not only that, CSU is in the middle of nowhere, so it's not even really too many places to go. But yeah, like we technically had already been getting to know each other, so it's like, okay, well, let's do something just you and me. Like, let's just technically go on a date, just see where it goes and go from there, because clearly he was feeling me, and to a degree I was feeling him. I kind of like certain qualities that he had, and you know, when we were on good terms, we had good conversation. So I was the one that actually asked him on a date, and I had never done that before, and I decided to ask him on a date. So he ends up rescheduling the original date that we had. I'm like, okay, cool. But then it's the second time around, right? This man claims that his phone had been dead the whole entire day. Honey, let me tell you something, because I pick up on people's personality traits and the routines that they do, and I'm telling you right now, he is one of those people where he always keeps a charger on him, and if he doesn't have a charger, his homeboys have a charger, because he used to kick it with his homeboys a lot too. You can't tell me this whole entire day you just didn't have a charger and that's why you wasn't responding. No, babe. No. You did not have a charger from early this morning at like 10 a.m. all the way until 8 o'clock, which was when we were supposed to go on our date. Don't even lie to me. So again, he gives the option to reschedule, and I'm not gonna lie, I had an attitude, I was zoned out, and I felt like I was being disrespected. So in a way, I did cuss him out, in a way. But yeah, we just stopped talking for real, because he swore up and down like, oh, I was busy, I lost my charger, It's like he was just pulling stuff out of his ass at this point. Like, I knew that he was bullshitting me. And one thing about me, I don't care how you feel about other women and what other women do. When it pertains to me, be honest with me. Don't lie to me. Don't sit there and perp in my face and try to make it seem like I'm crazy and delusional. Be for real and just say you didn't want to go on a date with me, you didn't have feelings for me like that, and leave it at that. Like, it's that simple. Because we could have easily just went back to doing what we was doing and just being friends. Because again, I'm not saying it to save face, but it's like, I liked some of the qualities that he had, so I wanted to explore those and see what happens. I wasn't head over heels in love with this man. I wasn't sitting over here like, oh my God, I need him in my life. You get what I'm saying? Like, this is our freshman year of high school. We were literally the first 2 months into starting our time at CSU. Honey, I like, chill, bro. Like, we supposed to be kicking it off and seeing where it goes. Like, you doing too much. But either way it goes, you could have just been real and say like, hey, I'm not feeling you like that, and leave it at that, and we could have went right back to normal. But he was just being weird. Now again, if you guys want that story time, please let me know in the comments down below, because there's more levels to that. It is way more levels to that. It's more details to that. But long story short, I just felt like my time was being wasted, and I didn't like the way that it felt. So I ended up just, you know, cussing him out. Like, bro, I feel like you're wasting my time. I feel like you're trying to, you know, like, you basically trying to flush me. I'm not feeling it, He's swearing up and down that it had everything to do with him being busy, but he's also trying to do like that nonchalant vibe of like, oh, I don't care, okay, I'll see you. So that's pretty much the end of it. And of course, because we're all friends and I was actually with them during the time that this man decided to tell me he didn't have his charger all day, and I'm pretty much venting to them like, bro, this is how he's treating me, this is how I feel, and like I said, it's way more of an in-depth story than what I'm telling y'all. I'm just paraphrasing for the sake of the story that we're telling right now. But they essentially knew all the details. Q knew all the details, my roommate knew all the details, so he knows why I feel disrespected. He knows that, you know, like, to a degree, this man is being funny acting with me, and I'm uncomfortable and I'm done with him. He is literally with me as we had that whole entire conversation. So we go back to campus because we went somewhere, but I forget where we went. But we come back to campus, right? And we are in the student center. We're at the very top part of the student center, and my roommate spots him, and she's like,
"Isn't that Gumby?"
And I'm like, what? Where? And she's like,
"He's leaving the Wow Calf. Isn't that him?"
And I look over the banister, and guess who it is? It's the man that was too busy and didn't have his charger the whole entire day. I thought you were too busy and that's why you were rescheduling. Now you're not that busy to the point where you can go and stop at the Wow and go back to your room. Boy, you got me fucked up. But again, I already said that I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to see him. I don't want nothing to do with him, right? Why does Q decide to shout over the railing and tell him to come up to where we're at?
Wait, stop the motherfucking music. You, are you dumb?
Now, mind you, I peeked over the railing and went to go sit back down where I was at. The area that we were at, this man can't see me unless I'm practically dangling over the balcony. And I would have had to been sitting directly next to where the railing is in order for him to even get a glimpse of another person being up there. So as far as he's concerned, Q is the only person that's up there. So I'm already thinking in the back of my head, like, why would you invite this man up here? And I had even said that to him, like, why are you inviting him up here? Like, this literally just happened. I just vented to you about how I felt disrespected and he wasted my time and he stood me up and da-da-da-da. And I'm obviously upset about it. And you're inviting him up here? And do you know that Q tried to make it seem like I was being over dramatic because I didn't want to see this man? That was just a weird situation. But then not only that, I didn't even think about it until way later. The way that situation looks, it looked like I'm pressed. It looked like I'm thirsty. It looked like it was a setup, and I don't like that. Like, I really wish I could go back in time and just do something completely different, because that was just not okay. So of course, when Gumby comes upstairs and he sees that I'm sitting there along with my roommate and Q, he tried to duck behind the corner, and he was noticeably upset because, like, he doesn't want to see me. Again, he's not interested in me, and I'm currently not interested in him because I feel like I got played and I got disrespected. So Q is still trying to get him to come and kick it with us, sit down with us, and he makes it a point to make this man sit next to me. Now, mind you, we're not talking to each other this whole time. This whole entire time, we are not communicating. I'm still noticeably upset. He's playing it off, and he's just like trying to, talk to my roommate, talk to Q. Everybody's just like, chatting it up. And I'm just over in the sideline, just quiet. And I'm still kind of ticked off that, like, he's right here because, again, you just told me you was busy. You ain't busy. And what made it worse is that we literally were around this man for like probably 45 minutes. I kid you not. I kid you not. We was with this man for 45 minutes. You was too busy to kick it with me for 15 minutes. Again, you got me fucked up. I'm not trying to hear it. But nonetheless, right, we end up going back to the dorm that they lived in because him and Q had lived in the same dormitory. So we go back there because I think Q needed something, and then he was going to stop and go get something. And mind you, it had already been 45 minutes that we've been kicking it with this man. The man that was so busy. He proceeded to keep kicking it with us to the point where he was able to make a pit stop in his room and meet us outside. So then we meet him outside, right? He ends up linking up with some of his other boys or whatever. So he kind of like, was getting ready to leave with them. And Q is still trying to get him to come kick it with us. And he's like,
oh, we forgot Gumby.
And obviously, I'm still uncomfortable. I'm still irritated. I said, we ain't forget shit. Let's go. Do you know that Q had the audacity to say,
I mean, girl, he ain't do nothing to us. What you mad about?
What?
Again, this is a situation that literally just happened. I kid you not. I got rejected. We came back to campus and we seen this busy man have all the free time in the world, and he proceeded to kick it with us for 45 minutes. What? Now, given I could have went back to my room and called it a day, but I just think that's really weird to be my friend and you kicking it with somebody who disrespected your friend. I find that odd. I find that really weird. And mind you, they didn't even know each other like that. They knew each other through me. They didn't even know each other like that. So that's weird that, like, you so pressed to kick it with him, but you could have met him down at the Wild Calf and called it a day. You never had to invite that man to come spend time with me. You never had to make that man sit next to me. It never had to be any of that. That's weird. And the fact that you don't think that's weird, I should have dropped him right then and there. Because it gets worse, y'all. It gets worse. Just wait a minute. I'm going to turn on my ring light just for y'all. Just so y'all can see me better. But I usually don't even bring out a ring light when I do like little videos like this. But anyways, let's get back into the video. So originally, the way that I was telling this story, I was telling it in like chronological order of like how these events happen. But I think it would just make sense if I just like talked about each individual event and give you the timeline for that. So hopefully this is like easy to follow and you guys understand what I'm saying and what I'm talking about, because I think this is way easier than how I originally did it. So back to the situation about Gumby. This would not be the last time that this man tried to make me and Gumby be back cool with each other or back together or whatever. Meanwhile, me and this man were never together to get back together. You get what I'm saying? But again, like, he just didn't know how to stop meddling in that situation. And here's the thing, right? So the second time that he had did it, it was very clear at that point that both of us were uncomfortable, especially because he kind of did that thing again where, like, I'm thinking I'm kicking it with my friends, right? So it's Q, my roommate, and me all over again. So I'm thinking, like, you know, we're just being cool, we're just being buddies, and we're just kicking it. I can't even remember what all we did that day. And then randomly, Gumby gets invited again. How did Gumby get factored into these plans? I don't know. And from what I could tell, my roommate wasn't aware of the situation either. So we all just kind of looking like, okay, where'd this come from? But, you know, none of us are trying to, like, be on BS per se, but it's just like, okay, why is he here? Like, what are we doing? Because again, I don't even remember what we were doing that day. But when I tell you, it was a situation where it literally was just us three. It was just us three. It was just a situation that was relevant to us three. Why is this other person being factored into our plans? That was just really weird. And then randomly in the middle of the situation, because mind you, we're being cordial, but we're just not speaking to each other. So it wasn't like the first initial time. We're a little bit better now because time has passed, but it's still a situation of, like, we're both kind of looking at each other like, why are we here right now? So in the middle of us kicking it and being cordial, there's no drama, there's no issues, there's no nothing, Q goes out of his way to ask,
so is there any way that you guys can, like, make up, or can you guys at least be friends or something?
and again, where is this coming from? And why? Because you were there. You were there. You know why we're not talking. You know why I was cool on bro. And then if we being honest, you're the one that made the situation way worse than what it had to be. So the fact that you're acting as if you're clueless and you don't understand why we're not speaking to each other when you low-key at fault just as much is just, please don't play in my face like that. Like, you know what you're doing, bro. You know how you're acting. You just want to act stupid for some reason. And again, it looks like it's a setup. It looks like I sat here and was like, guys, can we get together and help him talk to me and blah 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 blah. Whole time I'm just as clueless as he is. I'm just as caught off guard as he is, right? So he pretty much, like, gets mad, like, he gets fed up, and I couldn't even really respond because, like, for one, again, like, I knew we weren't together. I knew that we had no type of, like, serious relationship going on. So I'm not even mad about half of the stuff that he's saying, but it's like he basically gets to a point to where he starts trying to go off on me and cuss me out. It wasn't said exactly to me, but you could tell that, like, he was trying to turn up on me. You could tell that he was trying to give me aggression because he was mad at me. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, even with that situation, after he blows up, it got awkward. And guess what? They still wanted him to kick it with us. Why? Like, why is he still here? Why are we still talking? Like, it makes no sense for him to be here. So then we get to the third and final situation, because around this time, this is when our, like, friend group dynamic started to break down or whatever. There comes a point in time where we went grocery shopping, just randomly. I don't even remember exactly what we were going to the store to even get. I just remember that I was carrying forks. Plastic forks. I don't know why, but that's all that I really remember, for real. So while we're driving back to campus, I'm in the back seat, my roommate is sitting in passenger, and Q is the one that's driving. Q gets a phone call from, like, somebody, but I'm not really paying attention because, like, okay, it's a phone call, like, people have phones now, so, like, it's not that surprising. So when Q gets this phone call, it seems like it's like urgent or it's like a serious conversation. So I just kind of chopped it up to like, he must be talking to his mother. He must be talking to like, you know, somebody from back home or something like that. But then he turns to my roommate and he starts talking to my roommate. And I'm thinking to myself like, oh, so it's somebody that they know, because my roommate and Q have some classes together as well. So I'm thinking in my head like, oh, so this is like a personal matter. This is something that's completely related to them, right? So we land on campus and I was getting ready to go back into the room with our plastic forks and call it a night, because I was just ready to call it a night. And then I remember Q specifically. Q was the one that was like,
Tassie, come on, Tassie, come on, Tassie, come on.
so they're going this way. I'm trying to go back to our dorm. And I'm like, what? And he just keeps saying,
They need us, like we gotta be there, da da da.
and I'm like, who are we talking about? Like, I don't know what's going on, because again, there was a phone call, they talked amongst each other, and then that was it. So when they're like, oh, somebody needs us, and they're acting like it's so urgent, they're acting like somebody is like on the brink of unaliving, you feel me? So I'm just sitting there like, okay, so what are we doing? Where are we going exactly? And we go to the dormitories. We go to the Foundation 2, right? That's what them dorms was called. So we go to Foundation 2. I'm thinking we're going to Q's room because he stays there. But then we end up going up some steps. And I'm like, where are we going? What's going on? And we went up them steps, turned a corner, and I think we like went down a long hallway and turned another corner. Either way it goes, I was in the area of the twos that I had no familiarity with, because baby, I'm used to the ground level. That was as far as I used to get in the twos. I never knew anybody on the top level or nothing like that. Never had to take the elevator while I was in the twos, like at all. So once we done did all these twists and turns to get to this one location, we get to the suite, and of course you knock on the suite door in order to get to somebody else's room. And when we knock on the suite door, guess who answers the door?
I know you fucking lying, bitch.
Gumby. Like, I don't understand why I'm here. I don't understand why I had to be present during this whole situation. It was just really dumb. And then not disregarding his feelings, not trying to be like an asshole or anything like that, but when I tell you, like, they really framed it as if it was like a serious emergency. Like, I really thought like somebody's life is about to end as we speak. That's how it was presented to me, okay? Would you believe it that we go in here and it's just this man venting about some girl that he dated, and would you believe this man is venting and on the brink of tears because he feels like the girl that he is dating is playing in his face and wasting his time.
I'm supposed to feel sorry for that bitch. I don't.
Y'all, so let me just break this down for y'all. Again, I did not know that I was going to be around this man, that I was going to have any type of dealings with this man. I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea, no clue. That's number one. So you done did this shit for the third fucking time, bro. That's already like just a violation, and it's weird. Number two, the thing that kills me is that if I am like his, not even his ex, but we clearly done had something between us at some point in time that caused us to stop talking to each other, right? We not cool, right? Why would I randomly care about the fact that this man is going through something and I have not spoken to him this whole time? So this particular time, the third time that this situation has happened, this was months later. So the first offense and the second offense, they happened, I think, low-key within the same month. This is literally like months later. So we like practically about to go on Thanksgiving break or Christmas break or something. It's way later into the year. I have not seen this man. I have not spoke to this man this whole entire time. Why would I give a damn about what this man is doing as we speak? It does not make sense. But not only that, bro, again, the context of the situation, he's crying because he feels like there is somebody wasting his time that he cares about. You wanted me to give this man a speech? You wanted me to give him some form of encouragement after he wasted my time? Like, what? Girl, why am I here? Like, why am I actually here? And keep in mind, like, this was another hold up too. The way that me and my roommate used to leave the house, if we both knew that we were leaving the house together, one of us would have a key and one of us would have the key card. I only had, I think, the key to our room, but I did not have our key card. Now, I could have knocked on the door and had somebody, like, you know, bring us in, but for some reason during that time, they was, like, being funny acting about that. Like, I don't remember why, but they was being funny acting about that, so they low-key didn't want us doing that. And I think they had said, like, if we kept doing it, we was gonna get fined or something like that. They stayed trying to find somebody, like, girl, bye. But yeah, this was during that time where, like, they tried to basically, like, get you for every little thing, and I didn't want to get fined. I didn't want my roommate to get fined or nothing. I didn't want to throw her up under the bus. I didn't want anything to, like, you know, I didn't want no drama. I just wanted to go to my room. But again, like, my roommate, she got the key card, so I can't get in unless she give me the key card, you feel me? And they both just so enthralled in this man's little relationship and his little woes or whatever. And it even got to a point to where he done called the bitch, and he's like literally crying because he thought he heard a dude voice in the background, all types of shit. Again, why am I here? I don't care. Like, I'm not even saying it to be mean, but like, real talk, I don't care, you feel me? And it even got to a point to where me and him did eventually like talk to each other during that time period. And it also got to a point to where, like, I think we had we went to go pick up somebody from their job, and he came with us, so like we spent a little bit more time around each other, and you know, it was cool, it was copacetic, you know, it wasn't nothing. We said bye to each other when it was all said and done. But again, bro, why are you as an individual not seeing how weird this whole entire situation is, and you're the one that's orchestrating it? Like, you have to be so for real with yourself. There's nothing okay about this situation. You're messy. Period, point blank. That is messy. And mind you, I'm just speaking from my perspective. I'm not gonna speak for that man, but you basically are making two different people extremely uncomfortable because you can't stop meddling in what other people got going on in their lives. Is your life that boring? Bro, like, you're doing too much. So I know I'm doing a cutaway within a cutaway, and that's just like breaking all types of laws at this point. But I forgot all about this, and this is just as important. Tell me why when we went to go pick up the person from their job, Gumby had actually left. I think he went in the restaurant to go get something before they closed. And while he's out the car doing what he's doing, do you know that Q started crying? What? He started boohoo crying. He was crying over this man and was saying, like,
I just hate seeing people suffer. I hate it.
Now again, the reason why I'm bringing this up, which is why I had to hop in here again, is because how is this man getting his time wasted, him suffering and going through something? But when it happened to me and you were there to witness it in real time, not after the fact, in real time, you made it seem as if I was irrational. You made it seem as if I was just tripping and I was just doing too much, and then proceeded to keep bringing the same person around me. The funny thing is that when this video ties up at the end, y'all are gonna see exactly why this man behaved the way that he behaved. But in real time, it's just so ridiculous to experience it and witness it, because it's like, you have to be so fucking for real with yourself. I just stay being friends with weirdos. I don't know what that's about. But unfortunately, this wouldn't be the last time that this man does this. So months after the Gumby situation, I ended up dealing with another dude. Well, I can't even say I dealt with him. I didn't deal with him. I don't even know what that was. But he tried to, I don't know. he was another waste of time too, but I was wasting his time right back. He tried to be funny with me, so I played with him right back. And in the process of me playing with him, we ended up running into some other guys that was a part of his organization. So another one of the step bros, basically. So we all all kicking it, we all talking, you know, like it's just real chill vibes or whatever. And we all then eventually depart. We go to our rooms, and I just like got ready for the night. I hopped in the shower, I came out and was like getting ready to put on my pajamas. I had lotioned up. I think I had like freshly flat ironed my hair. I had did something to my hair, so I'm like literally ready for bed at this point. Like I'm ready. And then my roommate gets a phone call, and he's basically inviting her to come to the step practice or whatever. And I'm like, okay, yeah, cool, whatever. But then she hands the phone to me and she's like,
Q wants to talk to you.
I'm like, for what? But okay. So I pick up the phone, and Q is basically telling me like,
girl, he want to talk to you. He want to talk to you.
and I'm sitting there clueless like, who wants to talk to me? What are you talking about? And he's like,
You need to come to practice. You need to come to the step practice because this dude, he really want to talk to you.
so we're gonna name this dude Carmelo. I know it's like mass people, but just try to keep up. But I'm gonna name this dude Carmelo. So he's telling me that this dude Carmelo wants to talk to me. I don't know who Carmelo is, and he tells me that Carmelo is the dude that we met earlier. But keep in mind, we met multiple people. I don't know exactly who Carmelo is. I don't know which one it is. So I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, is it the one that was in the Nissan? And he's like,
No, it's not him. It's not him.
and I'm like, is it the tall, light-skinned one with the locks? And at first he tells me it's not him either. So obviously I'm confused. I'm clueless. I don't know who Carmelo is. He's not really helping. But ultimately he's like,
Just come to practice. Just come to practice. Just come to practice.
so I just threw on some of anything. I had on these jeans that did not fit, like, Lord. I had on jeans that didn't fit me. They were super baggy. I don't even remember what shirt I wore, but like I really just came out the house looking like whatever, because like I don't even know what we doing right now. I don't know who this man is. But again, didn't you originally call my roommate and tell my roommate to come and meet you? So I'm thinking this more so y'all little get together than anything. So I'm just kind of confused as to why I'm even there. So we get there, and it turns out that Carmelo is the dude that's like the tall, light-skinned dude with the braid, with the locks or whatever. But either way it goes, we're at their step practice. So me and that dude never even really talked the whole time. So like, why was I there? I still to this day don't really fully understand it. I don't know. But again, we're there all the way until their practice ends. And you know, it gets to a point to where we go off and we go to Applebee's, because that used to be our place. I can't even perp, but we went to Applebee's again. We ate a little bit of food, and during the time that we're eating, I don't even know how this came up, but we ended up talking about Carmelo, and we also talked about, you know, the step bro that got hooked up with my roommate, and we're just kind of like chatting it up or whatever. But they're specifically aiming it towards Carmelo, and some way somehow he insinuates that Carmelo wants to get to know me again. But again, we were just there. So like he said hello to me, but like we didn't really have a conversation. He didn't really say anything. So like I don't understand like what am I supposed to do with this? Like I don't really know. And he's just putting an emphasis on the fact that Carmelo wants to talk to me and he wants to get to know me. And he tells me like,
I'm going to drop you off at his apartment.
what? No, the fuck you're not. What do you mean? No, you're not gonna drop me off at what? And mind you, this was when I was still kind of sort of like I was never really a prude for real, but it's just like, I don't know, like I wouldn't even say I was hard to get. I don't know how to describe myself, but like I don't really like being in personal spaces with other people that I don't know. And I know, like I don't know. It's just weird to me, y'all. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't play about my personal space and other people's personal space. But not only that, let's be real. I'm a freshman in college. That man was probably like a junior. Well, no, I don't even think he was a junior, but like he was definitely somebody that had been at Central longer than me. So like it's already kind of a horror story waiting to happen, where it's like it's this upperclassman, I'm the freshman, and I'm going over his house at past midnight. That just don't sound like a good situation. So I'm sitting there protesting, and I'm saying like, I don't feel comfortable doing that. I don't want to do that. Q proceeds to give this man so much praise. He proceeds to say, no, he's not that type of dude. He's a really nice guy. He's this, he's that. He's just hyping him up the whole time. Like he's just giving nothing but accolades to this man. And he also includes the fact that he has 2 other roommates. And I'm like, that doesn't make me feel safer. Like that, honest to God, it doesn't make me feel any safer. It doesn't make me feel any more secure in the situation. But either way it goes, it's like I legit was like protesting that whole night. Like, I don't really want to go over his house by myself. Like, I really don't want to go. But then not only that, there also came a point in time where he had even offered that like us as a group, we were going to stay there. They were going to stay there for a significant amount of time and then leave me there so that I felt more comfortable. But again, I'm telling you, I'm not comfortable, period. Like, I don't want to do this, period. Like, what? But the more that I protested, the more he just kept pushing and pushing and pushing until I finally just was like, all right, I'll give it a chance. Okay, whatever. So we do the original plan. They stay over for a certain amount of time, a decent amount of time, and then they leave me and him alone essentially. And his two other roommates are there, but the one roommate, he goes into the back and he leaves us in the living room. And then the other roommate, he had came in. It was some drama, child. But the roommate had came in, and then we all like just came together in the living room. So I ended up getting to know all of them. And I'm not gonna lie, you know, we still cool to this day. We are, like, honest to God, they are very respectable, man. They are very nice. And honestly, I didn't feel like I was in danger the whole entire time I was there. And I know for a fact that they would be one of those dudes where if something happened to me, they definitely coming for me. So, you know, I mean, in a way, it all worked out. But I still just want to highlight that, like, I was not comfortable. And I did not want to do that. And then I got persuaded into doing that. And that itself was another red flag that I should have taken very seriously, because as someone who has female friends, you should be caring about your female friend's safety. And if I am telling you that I do not feel safe, I don't feel comfortable, that should have been respected the first time. But I will say, you know, they are very good men. They are very good men. And I love the fact that we still, you know, somewhat keep in touch with each other. Like, I'm very happy for that. But either way it goes, it's the principle of the matter. And I feel really disrespected that I had a friend that put me in that situation. Like, I don't like that at all. A male friend at that. Like, it just makes the situation worse. So to say the least, me and this Carmelo dude, like, we definitely hit it off. And in a way, I guess, like, we were kind of flirting with each other, chit-chatting with each other. But again, I was in my hot girl era. I was not tied down to nobody. I was not sitting up here, you know, I wasn't claiming nobody. So we was cool. That's all I'm gonna say. We was cool. But again, I don't like my time being played with. So there did come a point in time where I felt like he was brushing me off and he was being distant and he was kind of like playing in my face. That is a story time within itself too, child. Oof. Child. But yeah, like, I just was kind of like iffy about him. But for the most part, we were actually cool and we were actually on good terms. But out of the blue, there comes a point in time where I start to notice that Q is consistently complaining about Carmelo. And I'm thoroughly confused. Like, why are you mad at Carmelo right now? Why are you obsessed with Carmelo right now? That's really weird. But again, I ignore it because I'm an idiot. So now we get to the point to where me and Carmelo start having issues, right? And as me and Carmelo are having issues, I'm kind of venting to Q because, again, I'm thinking this is my friend. And I'm also venting to him because I want to know, like, am I tripping? Because this your bro. You get what I'm saying? Like, these your peoples or whatever. So I want to know, like, is that just how he acts? Is he just, like, naturally kind of a standoffish person? Or should I just back off because he's not interested? Like, what's going on? And this man proceeds to tell me, like,
he just is not a good person.
huh? What do you mean by that? Because mind you, I never said he wasn't a good person. I was just asking why he was being so distant and if I was tripping. But now this man has like multiple stories about how he doesn't like him, his demeanor, his behavior. Like, he's just pretty much dragging this man's name through the mud. Like, he don't like him. He do not like him. And at that point, I was kind of confused about that because I'm like, I mean, when you linked us up with each other and you told me to meet him and give him a chance, you said that he was a good guy. You said that, you know, he was smart and he was this and he was that. And like, what happened to that? Bro, this man sat here and told me verbatim.
Well, you know, that was back then. I didn't really know him like that.
What?
So let's go back to the conversation that we just had about me being over this man's apartment. You did not know this man like that. But you influenced me to go over his house at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I was over his house until about 3 o'clock in the morning. You influenced me to go to his house during the booty call hours, because I'm not stupid. You wanted me to go to his house during the booty call hours by myself. And I was the one that was repeatedly saying that I was uncomfortable. I don't like the way that sounds. I don't like the setting and the setup of everything. I don't like it. You literally harassed me into going to kick it with this man. And I was repeatedly saying I don't feel comfortable because I don't know him like that. You sat there and alleviated my fears by saying, no, he's such a good guy. I know him. He would never do stuff like that. And you didn't even know him. Do you not realize how dangerous of a situation that was? Again, good guys, all of them, very, very lovely people. But it's still the principle, y'all. It is the principle. You convinced me to be by myself at this man's apartment at 2 o'clock in the morning after I said I was uncomfortable. Repeatedly said that I was uncomfortable. And that same man proceeded to drive me home. God forbid something would have happened to me. Because the original plan was that they were going to come back. One of them was going to come back and come get me. They ended up texting me saying, yeah, we're tired. We're going to go to sleep. Ask him to take you home. God forbid something would have happened to me that night. And you sat here and were the ones that convinced me to go. Like, that's the frustration that I had, because ultimately by this point, obviously, like, a significant amount of time had passed between those situations. But again, it's just the principle. Like, anything could have happened to me and you made it seem like I was tripping because I was looking out for my safety. And you didn't even know this man like that. That's ridiculous. But now let's get back into the situation dealing with Carmelo. So remember, I had said that it got to a point where Carmelo was being distant or whatever, and he then decides to tell me, oh, I didn't even know this man from jump. I was just talking shit. So at one point in time, I think when we had this conversation, I was like in the store. So like he had took me to like Walmart and I had went grocery shopping. And we had that brief conversation, and I just simply said, like, I feel like he's acting different. I feel like, you know, like he's definitely becoming distant, whatever. And that was pretty much the gist of what I had said. So we get back home and I put my groceries away. I like kind of clean up the room a little bit. He's sitting on my roommate's bed because my roommate, she had went back home for the weekend. But again, like by this point, we real good friends. So she don't care about him laying in her bed or whatever. So he's laying in her bed, I'm laying in my bed, and he randomly just decides to ask me, like, so what is it about Carmelo that you feel is changing, or how do you feel about Carmelo? It was something of that nature. And I basically just told him, like, you know, like, I feel like he's becoming really, really distant, and I don't know, like, if that means anything or if he's just naturally that type of person, because I don't know him to be a very eccentric person. But you know, it does start to seem a little bit like I'm getting on his nerves a little bit, or like he don't really want to talk to me, and I'm just kind of confused because I don't know what's going on. So keep that in mind. We have that conversation. So here's the thing that I noticed but didn't notice when me and him were having this conversation. So like I said, he's laying on my roommate's bed. So he's laying this way, I'm laying that way, whatever. We're on two completely opposite sides of the room. So as he's laying on her bed and he's talking to me, he's also like on his phone. But the way that he's laying, obviously I can't lay because I'm in the bathroom. But like, basically, pretend this is the bed and it's laying down. So basically he's on the bed like this, right? And he's on his phone. And he's just, you know, tapping away. And when he asked me this question, he's on his phone in the same exact position. He's been like that for a minute though. So he's like this in the same exact position. And that's when he asked me, like, so why do you think that Carmelo is acting like that? What's the problem? So again, I noticed it, but I didn't fully notice exactly what was, you know, going on. So we fast forward to next semester. We're in next semester. We done went on Christmas break and everything. And we're in next semester, and I must say that like this particular year, it definitely kind of like flew by a little bit. Like it definitely felt like, wow, we were just celebrating. We were just like having a good time or whatever. And it just seems like randomly the year just flew past and we're in second semester. And the reason why I say that is because like we started kind of looking down our memories on Snapchat, like, oh, remember this, remember that, and blase blase. So we all pretty much are like taking turns looking at each other's Snapchat. We're all pretty much just like looking at different videos and pictures that we took as a group together, and we're just like laughing, reminiscing, whatever. So it gets to his turn, right? And at first it's like hee ha ha, the typical average stuff. Nothing out of the ordinary, nothing out of the blue. But then it comes a point in time where I was preoccupied, I was doing something, and they proceeded to keep looking at his Snapchat memories, right? Tell me why he goes into his Snapchat memories and he's like flipping through, scrolling through, and I hear the conversation between me and him about Carmelo. And what made it even crazier is that this man then tried to hurry up and flip past it. And the thing is that even my roommate has said, like, what happened? What was that? And I even turned around and I'm like, you recorded that?
So you recorded that shit?
I didn't know.
You didn't know that you were recording?
And this man gonna sit there and low-key try to pretend like he was clueless, like he didn't understand what we were talking about. And I'm like, you recorded our conversation. So now you have two people that are just like, okay, what was that? Why did you do that? And this man then decides to like finally speak up for himself. So I'm just paraphrasing what he said, because in all actuality, I don't fully remember what he had said. But basically he goes on to say,
I was just recording the conversation because I was going to send it to his roommate and I was going to ask him, do he know anything about Carmelo acting different?
So let's just dissect why that's an issue. So number one, right? Number one, why are you recording any private conversation that me and you are having? That's weird. That's creepy, and I don't understand why somebody, well, I know why he did it, but I don't understand why you would think that that wouldn't be a cause of concern and that wouldn't be something that people would look at you and be like, huh? Like, how could you not think that through? You get what I'm saying? That's my first discrepancy, because that's just disrespectful. Number two, the other discrepancy that I have is that, again, you shouldn't have been recording me at all. If you were going to record me and send it to somebody, I would think that the next person you would send it to would be Carmelo. Why would you involve his roommate in a situation between me and him? That's the problem that I have. Like, you're being messy, bro. You're being messy because you're involving people that don't need to be involved, number one. And number two, it's like, why couldn't you have just had that conversation with me and then you pass on the message like, hey, she just feels XYZ, da-da-da-da. Because again, that's your bro. You're the one that got him hooked up with me. So I'm asking you for the sake of asking you. If I wanted to ask his roommate, because again, like, you know, we was all like somewhat cool or whatever. And I think I had a class with his roommate too. But like, yeah, if I wanted to ask his roommate, I clearly would have asked his roommate. I would have been asked his roommate. I didn't ask his roommate for a reason. I asked you for a reason. And then not only that, similar to the situation with Gumby, you're making me look psychotic. You're making me look like I'm pressed. Again, we was chilling, we was cool, we was vibing. I just wanted to know, should I fall back? Is this a bad day for him? Is this a bad time? Whatever. Because I started to notice that he was being different. I started to notice that he was kind of like, you know, shutting himself off and being real reserved. So I wanted to know, is this something that he just does? Is he like that in general? Or is it me and he want me to fall back? But the part of the conversation that you had, again, it's like way later on. And the part of the conversation that ends up getting highlighted is me essentially asking you, why is he avoiding me, basically? Like that's what it seems like. Like, oh, he's avoiding me, he doesn't like me, and he doesn't even notice me. Like, I just sound pressed. But the reality of it is that this is a conversation that was carried on from a previous conversation. And also notice, we ain't include the part where you was sitting up talking shit about him. We ain't include the part where you turned around and start dogging his ass out and talking about some, yeah, girl, I didn't even know him back then. I didn't know. You ain't record that part. You only recorded my part, right? Like, dude, seriously? So this started to be a pattern of behavior too. Like, he had a lot of moments where he just really was not thinking about safety as far as like his female friends' feelings. Like, there came a point in time where I low-key had a stalker while I was at CSU, and he joked like he was calling my stalker over there to come and sit with us. That's not something to joke about, because again, we don't know how these men are. We don't know how they're gonna react. We can't put nothing past nobody. And this particular stalker, he did look like the type that, you know, and I just thought that was really weird and highly disrespectful, because like, even though in all honesty, like initially I wasn't afraid of this man, I had no fears about this man, it's still the principle of the matter that like, I just told you this man was stalking me, like legit stalking me, harassing me and everything. He's seen the text messages. Again, that's what makes all of this shit worse. Like, it's not like I'm just, oh, all of this is unsaid. No, I've said all of this. I've shown him proof, text messages, everything, and he still acts the way that he acts. And I'm showing you this man harassed me. I'm telling you how he made me feel. And you think it's funny to joke about him coming over to sit next to me after I told you that this man made me feel uncomfortable? I don't appreciate that. I wasn't even going to show these messages originally, but I just decided to show them now so that y'all can get the severity of like what I was going through with that dude. So you're going to have to pause to read. I'm not really spending that much time on it, but this man was literally just being completely predatory, very vulgar, just disgusting. And what makes it worse is that I found out later that like this man is actually notorious on Central State campus. Like, everybody knows the Puerto Rican boy who goes into everybody's DMs. The only reason why I'm blocking his name out is like just in case, you know, like somebody tries to sue for defamation of character or whatever, and I don't want anyone like going out their way and harassing him. But like, yeah, just take a look at these messages. This is what I'm going through. So I'm not tripping when I'm mad about the fact that you invited this man to come and sit at a table with us, whether it was a joke or not. If I clearly showed you all of these messages and I'm visibly uncomfortable, it should be no question. So what type of friend was he? Let me know. I'm not tripping. So then it also came a point in time where this dude at a party tried to talk to me, and I pretty much like rejected him. And of course, like, you know, I did the typical lying, like, oh, I got a boyfriend, whatever. But again, it's like the way the dude came at me, not saying that even with him, I didn't feel necessarily like my life was being threatened, but it's still the principle of the matter that I'm not interested. He came at me like very just off-putting and kind of aggressive, and I was just politely like, well, no, I'm not interested. No, I have a boyfriend. You know, like I'm playing it off. And do you know that as I'm lying through my ass, but as I'm lying and saying, no, I have a boyfriend, sorry, do you know that this man sat there and said,
no the fuck she don't.
Dude, like, I don't know. This is why I was kind of hesitant about telling this story, because like, I don't want to enable further homophobia. I don't play about stuff like that. I do not like for people to bash gay people or anybody in the LGBTQ plus community. But this is a prime example of what people be talking about when they say that gay men contribute to misogyny just as much as straight men, because even as a gay man, you are still a man. And I am telling you that this man, and this man are making me uncomfortable. This man disrespected me. And you think it's funny to keep putting me in situations where I don't feel comfortable. And like, again, these alone should have been moments where I'm like, I don't want to be your friend anymore. I'm going to leave. But I just stayed for whatever reason. But as time was going on, I definitely was getting very uncomfortable with him acting like this, because I'm like, bro, what is your problem? So now let's go into homophobia, because believe it or not, this man was homophobic even though he was gay.
How, Sway?
I'm still tripped out about that, because I'm like, how the fuck do that work? But yeah, so how was he homophobic? So he hates all feminine gay men, all of them. So the androgynous gay men, he don't care for them. Trans people, he will gauge his eyes out with a fork that has been in the garbage disposal. Like, he can't stand them. And me personally, like, I ride for everybody. So I didn't like the fact that he was like that. I felt like that was very odd. And in my mind, you know, you ain't really no different, to be honest. Because one thing that for some reason a lot of people don't know, is that when he would be over our rooms, he would have fun dressing up in our clothes and wearing our wigs and stuff like that, and he even played on our makeup. And it's like, do you think that you're different from the rest of these gay men because you're not the one out here doing that publicly? Because you're still doing it, you still do it, but like, what? Like, I just thought that was really odd. And then I also started to notice that he would kind of lay it on thick when he would be around straight people, and I'm just like, you don't think that's a little odd? Like, do you think you're the token gay? Like, I don't even know, is that even a thing? I don't even know, but I just know that, like, whenever we would get around like a bunch of straight dudes, he would start to just act like that for some reason. And mind you, majority of the straight dudes that we was even friends with, they were not, I don't want to say they were not homophobic, because I don't know to the extent of how accepting they are, unfortunately, but like, all in all, we did not hang around people that were homophobic. And I must say that, like, once you get to college, that's not saying that you're never going to be oppressed, you're never going to see like bigotry, but to be honest, once you get to college, a lot of that stuff really don't happen that much. Like, a lot of the hate crimes and stuff like that, it really don't happen as much as you think that it would. Like, for the most part, people respect the fact that everybody is different. So I was very confused as to why he was doing that, because I guess it's a situation where he felt like, I don't know, like he's cool with the straight dudes, so he was trying to impress them. I don't know, I don't really know the extent as to why he did the things that he did, but I just always thought it was really, really weird. And the other thing that he did that rubbed me the wrong way, this is where AJ comes in again. So our friend AJ, it was AJ, Q, me, and my roommate. We were all like really cool with each other, and we were always like really together. And there came a point in time where Q got fed up with being AJ's friend and essentially convinced us to not be friends with AJ anymore. And the only reason why he didn't want to be his friend anymore, according to him at this time, was because he was upset that AJ didn't come out the closet. And his reasoning was because Q came out the closet in 2008, back when it wasn't fully acceptable or fully, you know, cool to be LGBT at all. And he felt like if he had the courage to come out during that time, I guess all gay men across America should too. So he was mad at him because of that, and I was thoroughly confused about that. And my thing was just like, you know, like, to me, from what I understand, coming out is a very big and serious situation for a lot of LGBTQ plus people. And one thing I know is that, number one, it's a social construct. So like, do you absolutely positively need to come out? No, you don't. That's number one. But number two, he's gonna come out when he feels like coming out. Like, again, we were freshmen in college. Like, we are still low-key children. We're children with bills, basically. So like, you're trying to pressure him to hurry up and come out when he's obviously not ready to come out yet. And your reasoning is because you came out, so he shouldn't be worried about it. Like, what? And I will say that, like, they were part of an organization that was founded by a lot of gay men, but still, it's just like, either way, if he's uncomfortable for reasons that he's not comfortable, I don't think that's a reason to get on his ass about that. And would you believe it that when I spoke up and I said something, this man called himself trying to check me and cuss me out? And I'm sitting there like, where did that come from? Like, first of all, why are you even upset? Why are you even mad? But here's the gag of it all too, which, again, this will all make sense towards the end of the video. But from what I could see, AJ was never in the closet.
And
AJ was never hiding it from anybody. I think, if anything, he was hiding it from his parents at home. But on campus, at CSU, that man was very open. Like, very. Was not hiding, was not doing any of that. So I was I was confused, because I thought this man was hiding. I thought he was in the closet. What happened? We'll get to that later. But yeah, he was mad because AJ was still in the closet and he didn't feel comfortable coming out, so he wanted to stop being friends with him. And in that same process, he actually did out him to a few of his straight male friends. Like, they had like mutual friends for the most part, and he went out of his way to tell them like,
oh yeah, did you know he's gay? Did you know AJ's gay?
I found that highly disrespectful. Like, again, I don't know if that's my place, but I thought that was very odd as well. Like, why are you sitting here telling his business like that if he clearly is in a situation where he's not ready to come out yet? Like, that's not cool. That's just not cute at all. The funniest thing about him doing that though is that it didn't work because, again, like, AJ was never in the closet for real. Like, everybody knew. Either they knew or they had a hunch, but either way it goes, like, people were aware. So it's like, you going out your way to do that, it backfired, right? So here's the thing. When the situation backfired, he then tried to flip it from him being mad about him not coming out to trying to insinuate that he wasn't really mad about the fact that he wasn't ready to come out. He was just mad about the fact that AJ just lies. Like, he just blatantly is a liar and he's secretive and da-da-da-da. So let me just give you a little bit of like backstory when it comes to AJ. So AJ is the type of person where, for the most part, he's very like to himself. He's very private. And I never questioned it. None of us ever really questioned it. But I feel like Q kind of took it personal because, like, they were the first friends on campus before they met us. So I guess he felt some type of way about that simply because, like, you know, you're my best friend or something like that. Like, so something of that nature or whatever. Like, I guess he felt some type of way. But either way it goes, right? But yeah, he basically tried to frame it as if like his hang up was the fact that AJ was a liar and AJ is always being so secretive because AJ did at a lot of times like duck off and do his own thing, and we never knew where he was at and we never knew what he was up to. When it came to me, my roommate, and Q, we did like sometimes be with each other from like sun up to sundown. But when it all came down to it, it's like AJ go off and do his own thing. That should be perfectly fine, right? But he, again, tried to frame it as if like, no, AJ is a liar and he secretly don't like us and da-da-da-da. Now, again, we were ignoring this for a super duper 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 long time. But then it got to a point to where Q started convincing my roommate to get on three-way with AJ, and AJ would then talk about like some of the dudes that he was dealing with and like who he was attracted to and all that other stuff. And of course that added fuel to the fire of like, he's lying, he won't come out, da 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 da. We were getting bored of the same old rhetoric because we don't care at this point. And mind you, by this point, AJ was already allegedly cut off. So like, why are you even still obsessed with if this man is still dealing with somebody or not? Like, but again, it'll all make sense at the end. That's what's crazy. But, you know, it was just really odd. So it went from that to trying to paint this narrative that AJ was secretly jealous of my roommate or like jealous of one of the dudes that we also used to hang around. So this dude, like, we never really predominantly used to hang around him. But Q told my roommate to pretend like him and her were dating just so he can get AJ's reaction, because we were all again at Applebee's and he just wanted to get his reaction. And when AJ had got on the phone with Q or somebody, he basically had said like, I don't like that dude for her. Like, he was noticeably like ew when it came to him when we was at Applebee's. But like when it came down to like that phone call that he had with Q, when he thought he was only on the phone with Q, he had said openly like, I don't think he's good enough for her. I don't like that particular dude. Like, I'm just not feeling him at all. Now, mind you, because she know, baby, I said worse. She knows every man that I have a disdain for that she done dealt with, she knows. So if that was supposed to make somebody stop being cool, I don't know. I don't know what you thought you were doing, because if that's the case, me and her should not be talking, because I tell her every time you ask me, I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you unprovoked. But if you ask me, I'm going to tell you, period. So he tried to frame that as like a jealousy thing or whatever. And he even included the dude. Like, I didn't even know that he included the dude, but like somehow the dude got involved. So he took offense to that too. Like, what you trying to say? I'm a bum or blah, blah, blah. It was just, again, him being messy, him just trying to amp up drama that did not need to be drama. And he's trying to paint this narrative as if like AJ is controlling and he's jealous. But mind you, there's only one person that told another person to pretend to be in a relationship just so they can get a reaction out of the next person. So even if it was a situation where he was jealous, babe, what do you think you look like? It's not giving. But then not only that, let's also talk about the fact that there was a period of time where we did cut AJ off. We did. And I don't remember how long we cut him off, but we did. And again, he be in the cut, so he probably ain't even noticed that he was cut off. But here's the thing, right? So the reason why we cut AJ off is because one time we were talking about how we thought about going to this game against our rival school, and it was down in Kentucky. So it was CSU against K-State. And we were kind of talking about the possibility of going, but we were trying to, like, get the money stuff out the way, because by this point, baby, we was actual college students. Like, we was broke as hell. So we were trying to factor in gas. We were trying to factor in who's going to drive. Honestly, knowing me, I think I didn't have enough money for the ticket to even get into the game. Like, it was just a lot going on. But we did end up saying that, like, if somebody feels like driving, that's the first thing that's, gonna determine whether we go or not. So we sat there and we just decided, like, okay, we're not gonna go because we don't know if we want to, like, drive down there. We don't know if we want to catch, like, this community bus down there. Like, we just, it's too much of a hassle. We'll try again next year. We all collectively said that. Now the thing is that AJ ended up going to said game. And we know that he was there because he ended up linking up with my roommate's friend, like her childhood friend, because her childhood friend had went to K-State. And basically, he ended up linking up with the childhood friend because apparently they had been talking for a minute, I guess. He knew that he was already going to go. He knew he was already going to go. And he even hopped in the camera when she FaceTimed her friend. Like, we were not aware that this man was down in Kentucky this whole entire time. But yeah, he was down there and he hopped in the camera to let us know that he was there. And we all was just sitting there confused, like, so you're in Kentucky right now, but I thought you said it was too much gas and X, Y, and Z and da da da. Because if that's the case, we all could have went. Like, why did you lie? You get what I'm saying? But then what made it even worse is that he lied again and said that the only reason why he was in Kentucky was because he was coming to visit the childhood friend, and on his way back home he hit a dead animal, like a raccoon or something, and it was stuck up under his tire, and he couldn't get it looked at and fixed until the next day. And we're just sitting there like, there's definitely like AAA and various different tow trucks that can take care of that. And then not only that, if the animal is already dead, you quite literally can get it out yourself, which is gross. But like, you mean to tell me that you're spending the night in Kentucky with an overnight bag? And it was just an impromptu decision. Like it wasn't planned at all. You just hit a raccoon and it just so happened to be in enough distance from K-State the day of the game. So at that point, I'm not gonna lie, we fell for the trap, we fell for the trick, because at that point we're like, okay, yeah, this man is a liar. He does lie about stupid shit. Because why was that worth lying about? Like, why was that even worth talking about? And then, oh my God, I'm not trying to be messy, but what made it worse was that childhood friend was actually put off by him even being there. He did not want him there after a while. Like, he felt like he was a creep. Like, no shade, because, it's still love to AJ, but, like, that situation was definitely one-sided. No shade. It was one-sided. So it was even worse because it's just like, roommate is getting defensive when it comes to her childhood friend because she like, oh my God, you're harassing my friend, da da da. It was just a mess. It was just a mess. But either way it goes, like, Q low-key conditioned us to have that mindset already. not taking accountability away from us, but you know, like he low-key was already putting it out there and trying to like convince everybody that this man was a liar. So once that situation happened, it kind of was like, oh, okay, now we see it and we chuck the deuces up. But eventually we did end up getting back cool with him. I just don't remember how. But yeah, like it was all said and done. But either way it goes, like this man was manipulating this whole situation, and it was just like, why? Like, for what reason? And mind you, this all is happening our first semester of college. Like, why are we having this many situations and experiences? And, you know, it's literal drama. Like, why? Like, I'm so confused as to why this is going on. Because he don't want to come out. Like, that is so stupid, bro. But now we're in semester 2. So now we're in the year 2017, right? So by 2017, we end up meeting a new set of people. So let's factor in all of these people, right? So not only is it me, my roommate, Q, and AJ, it now consists of Theo, Valentina, we just gonna call her Valentina. Fuck it, we just gonna call her Valentina. Zena, and we gonna call this girl Tiana. And I'm just gonna chop it up to that's who it is. Oh, and Ray. Yeah, so it is all of us at this point. Like, we all kind of friends. Well, Ray low-key wasn't our friend yet. Either way it go, we're all friends, right? We're all friends for the most part. So I'm gonna tell you right now, it's gonna be a lot to follow, but just try your best to understand the dynamics of what happened, because it is important. Okay, so like I said before, it's me, it's my roommate, it's Q, and it's AJ, right? My roommate ends up meeting a boy named Theo because they have the same classes together, right? So Theo, when we end up meeting Theo, because she introduced me to him, when we end up meeting Theo, we also end up meeting Tiana eventually. And the reason why we meet Tiana is because Theo and Tiana were best friends with each other. So we met them as a unit. We met them like pretty much by themselves, and they ended up, you know, coexisting and mingling with our already made friend group, right? But then there's Valentina and Zena, and the way that they ended up being added is that Valentina actually already knew who Q was because they came from the same town, they went to the same high school, and I think that to a degree they were friends with each other previously, so they had already knew each other. But the way that me and my roommate knew Valentina was because we used to go to parties with her a lot, because for some reason AJ and Q just did not do parties. I don't know why, but they just didn't do parties. Me and my roommate, we did parties though. Not a lot, but like, you know. So we always would go with Valentina because Valentina, like, she practically had the hookup. She always knew something was going down. So we ended up meeting Zena through Valentina. And that's how, you know, everybody kind of came to be, you know, at one with each other. So just keep that in mind. I know that was a lot to follow. Oh, and how do I keep forgetting Ray? The reason why I keep forgetting Ray is because Ray came in like after all the craziness that I'm about to get into. So Ray, we ended up meeting Ray through Zena because Ray and Zena were already friends way before any of this other stuff started happening. So yeah, that's how everybody came to be, and that's how we all met each other. So just keep that in the back of your mind because it's all gonna play out the way that it needs to play out. So we all kind of collectively bonded, became friends with each other, hung out with each other, and everything was pretty much cool and copacetic. But it did start to seem as though when Valentina met Tiana, to a degree, that's when a lot of our like issues started, and I thought that was really weird. Now also keep in mind that Tiana started to get really close to AJ, Q, and yeah, that was it, AJ and Q. And there comes a point in time where like our group kind of split apart, and it was really weird. Now again, y'all, if you can tell by the last story time that I told y'all, I sometimes am very oblivious to what is going on unless you clearly state it. So I'm hanging out with both groups. I'm hanging out with both parties. I'm not thinking too deeply into it. I'm not thinking too much into it. I'm just kind of going with the flow. It just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But I did notice that like it was split down the middle in two different groups. There would be times where we would text them and be like, hey, are you guys ready to go to dinner? Are you guys ready to go to lunch? What time are we linking up? They would never text us back. So we ended up, you know, going to different tables and going at different times. But either way it goes, like, again, I'm gonna kick it with them when I kick it with them, and I'm gonna kick it with y'all when I kick it with y'all. And I was just cool with everybody. But then my birthday rolls around, right? And everybody knew when my birthday was. My birthday rolls around, and obviously I end up kicking it with Group A, which consists of my roommate, Xenia, Valentina, and by this point, Ray was a part of the group, and Theo. I end up kicking it with them for my birthday. AJ, Q, and Tiana, they went off and did their own little thing, so they was Group B. So I'm kicking it with Group A. Group B is off doing their own thing on my birthday, which I'm not really tripping over, but the whole entire time that it's my birthday, I never got a happy birthday from Group B. Not once. But what's crazy is they viewed my story. So they seen my birthday celebration, right? And they were viewing everybody else's stories that showcased my birthday celebration, and they still never told me happy birthday. Now, I'm not the type of person where I take things like that too much to heart. I don't really obsess over things like that, but I did kind of come to terms with the fact that, like, you know, that was definitely odd. That was definitely like weird. So I did kind of take notice of that, and that's when I started like realizing that it was something weird going on between like Group A and Group B. And I also thought it was very weird too, because one thing that I forgot to mention earlier on is that one of the things that Q did was that he had planned a surprise party for my roommate. So like I ain't gonna say he went all out, because again, we was in college, we didn't have that much money, but it's like, even in terms of like broke college students, he went all out for her birthday, right? And the reason why he did that was because, number one, we were friends, but he also was like highlighting the fact that like birthdays are so important to me. Like, I would always go out for my friends, and if I was to be a millionaire, I would provide this, I would provide that, da 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 da, like my girls would be set, da 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 da, just everything. So like, the way that this party was set up, he had, if I remember correctly, he had ordered pizza. One of the girls that he worked with in like one of the student offices also like baked on the side. So like, he got that girl to make her a cake, and he paid for it and everything. I even chipped in to a degree, and I think I bought like the pops and the chips or whatever. I don't even fully remember. But yeah, like basically he made a whole entire like party, whole entire little celebration, right? And I don't think he like signed out the room, but like there was also like a room that was in Science. That's the science and technology building that we have. So he rented out a room that was in one of our buildings to have this celebration as well. So it's like, for you to stress the importance of somebody's birthday, let alone your friends, and the fact that you did all of that for my roommate, I feel like it's kind of weird that like all of a sudden there's nothing for me. Now, I'm not expecting, you know, as much as she was getting, because to be honest, like I don't, like I said, I'm not picky like that. I don't trip over stuff like that. But what I'm saying is that I find it a little bit odd that you made it that big of a deal initially, and now it's not that big of a deal to you when it's anybody else in our group and when it's me. That's the part that had me like, okay, that's a little odd. And that's why I took notice, because I'm like, okay, noted. But you know, time went, you know, it came and went. It is what it is. We get to spring break. Now that we're here at spring break, I'm kicking it with my roommate. I go back to her town, and then we end up going to kick it with her sister that lived in Columbus. And tell me why, while we're at her grandma's house, we have not talked to Group B in forever. We have not talked to Q in forever. Do you know that Q just decided to randomly call my roommate?
Your dad, in the course of this campaign, that you didn't...
Hello?
And they start talking on the phone. He comes in with the pretext of like he's asking about a nursing job or something, and we both just kind of looked at each other. She didn't let him know that I was like, you know, in the room or on the phone. Like he didn't know anything, okay? But we both kind of looked at each other like, why is he asking about a nursing job that's like all the way on the outskirts of where we live? Like, that's kind of weird. But not only that, didn't he just say that he would never go back to nursing? Like, I remember him being very adamant about that. So that's a little odd. Like, okay, where'd that come from? All right, whatever. But we're kind of just listening, and they're talking. And then it gets to a point to where he gets into what he really called about. And he starts asking about, like, I think he started asking about like Theo. I forget, but you know, my birthday situation ended up coming up, right? And she basically was speaking on behalf of me, like, you know, like,
Well, I don't think that Tassie really feels any type of way. I don't think she really, like, she never really said anything, but I'm just asking on her behalf. Like, you know, she did kind of seem like she was a little down because you guys didn't wish her a happy birthday. And, you know, I think she did kind of take it personal, but, like, she's not mad at you guys or anything.
I ain't gonna lie, we was being messy. I ain't gonna lie, we was being messy, but they was being messy first, so like I don't really care. But again, I'm in the room while all of this is happening. So he goes on to say that like he genuinely forgot that my birthday was that day. It was like practically the next day or something. But my thing is that keep in mind my birthday was March 10th. By the time that we went on spring break, my birthday had came and went. So it's practically the month is over and we're going into April, and we were in one of those situations where like early May we were leaving to go home. So it's like we're practically like a month in and you still ain't never tell me happy belated. So like you could have still said happy belated. Like again, I'm not one of them people where it's like I'm funny acting or nothing like that. So you could have still said it. But then not only that, mind you, we not talking just about him. We talking about the whole group B. Why the whole group B decide like F Tassie on her birthday? Y'all went out to dinner for my birthday at that. So you was watching my stories while you was at dinner. Not one time said, oh, we should bring her back a cake or nothing. And again, it's not a requirement, but I'm just saying, like, if it really was no animosity and it really wasn't, you know, like you was trying to be funny or nothing, I don't understand why you wouldn't just tell me happy belated. So that automatically had my eyebrow raised, like, that sounds suspicious. But then he goes on and on and on, and he starts talking about Theo. So Theo comes up and he basically starts airing his grievances about Theo. And in the process of airing his grievances about Theo, do you know that Tiana apparently has some comments to be made about Theo too? But mind you, her and Theo were best friends. Like we met them as a set. We met them as a collection. How you fall out with your best friend that you lived with at one point in time? Over what? Like it didn't make any sense. It just wasn't adding up. But he's airing out his grievances about Theo, and he's basically mad at Theo because he feels like Theo purposely dated a dude that he knew that he liked. And my thing was just like, that don't even sound like something that Theo would do. Like, to be honest, that sounds completely out of the ordinary of something that Theo would do. But not only that, Q was dating a guy at this time. Or at least that's what he told us. But I ain't gonna lie, even that situation, it didn't look like it looked like one person was aware that they was in a relationship, if we being honest. It definitely looked like that. But either way it goes, you supposedly in a relationship right now. So why is you even worried about another dude that you supposedly was talking to, dating / whatever. And from what I understand, you dated the one dude, then you dated a staff member, and then you dated the dude that you dating now, where he got you basically being his personal Uber. So why is you worried about old dude? Like that just kind of had me like, okay, that's a little odd. But again, this don't even sound like the type of thing that Theo would do. So he ends up again saying something that Tiana had said about Theo. I can't remember verbatim what she said. I really can't remember what it was, but basically Tiana had been sitting up talking. She had been sitting up being messy too. Now, I don't even know if I should tell y'all about Tiana because this is a story about Q, but Tiana was being messy too. She tried to get me to stop being friends with some of my friends and some more shit. And I personally feel like she was acting crazy because she was either jealous of Xenia or she was jealous of Valentina. I'm not 100% sure. But I feel like she was low-key being controlling and she was just being weird, period. So I decided that I will be telling the story. I had to sit up for this one because let me tell you the weird shit that was going on. So I will say that like low-key, when we started like hanging around Valentina and Xenia, it did start to seem like, you know, like it was kind of like a weird situation going on. But again, I kind of ignored it because I thought like maybe I'm just tripping. And I always end up hanging out with people where like, you know, we joke, we catty a little bit, we play too much. So I'm also just kind of thinking like it ain't really nothing that serious, nothing that major. So that's number one. But there came a point in time where me and Tiana were by ourselves in our room, and she had basically let me know that Valentina apparently had been talking bad about me. And what she said was that Valentina had said that she didn't like me and that she was questioning why my roommate hung out with me. And when she said this when Theo and my roommate had left our room. When they came back, I had asked them about it because, number one, I do want to double check with my roommate. Like, girl, did you let some bitch sit up and talk shit about me? That's number one. But number two, I wasn't even saying the question trying to be messy. I wasn't doing it to try to, like, start any drama, because what it is that, like, me being the type of person that I am, you do not have to fake kick it with me. Ever. So if it's ever a situation where one of your friends, whether you know them before me, after me, whatever, if one of your friends don't like me, I'm not going to tell you not to be friends with her. I'm not going to tell you to stop kicking it with them. You can do whatever you want to do because that is your life. But I am not going to fake a vibe with anybody. If she don't like me, she don't like me. I never want it to be a situation where my friends feel like they got to choose between me or choose between another person. If it ever is that serious and that girl don't like me that bad, don't invite me. Literally, you can leave me out. I will not be mad. I will not be offended. Or, like, I'm not even gonna make you choose whether you gonna diss me or diss her. I don't care. I'm just going to let my friends know every trip. Your other friend got an issue with me. Don't bring her around me. Because one thing about me, as y'all know, I don't do the whole let's just meme mug each other from across the room. Let's be fake. Let's just be mad. No. If it's beef, let me know. If it's smoke, let me know. So I don't care if it's a wedding reception. I don't care if it's the day of the wedding. I don't care about none of that. She want beef, I'm going to give it to her. You feel what I'm saying? So that's why I was letting her know. And mind you, again, like, we was close by this point, so she already knew this about me. So I was coming to her to tell her what Tiana had told me about Valentina. But as it turns out, based off of what Theo said and what my roommate said, they both vouched and said, like, oh, Valentina didn't say that. She said something completely different. And basically, like, what Valentina had said was, like, she had basically made a comment about how she it doesn't seem like I'm, like, that into, like, something. Basically, she was questioning, like, do this girl go out? Do she talk to people? Do she party? Whatever. Because, again, y'all know me at this point. I am not a lituation. I'm not. I'm me. I'm Tassie. But either way it go. So that's the gist of what was being said. But once I had found out that that's what was said and it was clarified, I didn't think twice about it. Because in my head, I'm thinking, like, Tiana is just being a good friend. Like, basically, she just misinterpreted what was being said, or maybe she, like, just peeped the vibe or something, and she just wanted to let me know, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't take that to heart. I didn't think that was, like, a big deal at the time, and we literally moved on. And then, even with the situation that I had already talked about before, where, like, there would be times where I would kick it with group A and I would kick it with group B, it was the same thing where, like, I would be with them, right? And there would be certain moments where they would, like, give commentary, but they commentary would basically be like, I don't do all the smoking and drinking. I can't, be in everybody's face like that. I'm not that pressed, da da da. Again, I'm completely oblivious. So when they're saying this, I'm not realizing that to a degree, this is shots being thrown towards my friends. This is shots being thrown towards, Xenia and them. I'm not noticing that that's where that comes from, because, again, I'm the type of person where sometimes you got to be real direct with me or else I don't know what's going on. So when they're talking about, like, oh, we don't do the smoking, we don't do the drinking, da 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 da, I'm thinking in the back of my head, like, same, because I'm not the type of person where, in order for me to have a good time, we gotta smoke, we gotta drink, we gotta turn up. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm thinking, like, we on the same page with that, and then being in everybody's face. Again, I'm not a social butterfly. I'm surprised I even had that many friends when I went off to college. I'm surprised I was as social as I was when I went off to college, because I don't really deal with nobody. I don't. Everybody know this. So when they're saying that, I'm thinking, like, we really talking like that. Whole time, they really was trying to, like, separate me from group A. Like, they didn't want me to be friends with group A, essentially. Like, they was trying to ostracize, them. And they didn't only do it to me, they also did it to Theo. They did it to Theo plenty of times, and they definitely did it to AJ, and they were successful with AJ. But yeah, like,
she was just doing a lot of like weird stuff behind the scenes. And that's when eventually we started to notice that, you know, they would go off and do their own thing or whatever. But even in those situations, me being oblivious, me being dumb, I would say hi to them even when I was with them. And there were a few times where she would say hi back. There was a few times where they would say hello. I genuinely was saying hello because, yeah, these are my friends. These are my friends. I'm not thinking twice about it. I'm just, hi, guys. And that's it. But then it got to a point to where I would say hello to them, whether it was me or whether it was me with the group. Baby, sometimes I wouldn't get a hi back. And this just slowly built. Slowly. So, yeah, that is just like a little bit about the Tiana bitch. Cause, yeah, what the fuck was that?
But yeah, Tiana was on some weird shit and she basically recruited Q, and Q was on some weird shit and they just decided to be the weird twins. I don't fucking know. But either way, you know what I'm saying? It was just a mess and I thought that was really odd. And during the time that I'm hearing about Tiana talking about Theo, I texted Theo and I'm like, Theo, this bitch ain't your motherfucking friend. Like, real talk. Like, this bitch ain't your motherfucking friend. Because she's sitting here saying XYZ. And Q was talking about apparently you done took one of his niggas. I don't know what the fuck going on, but I'm not feeling it. And I just wanted to let you know. Because I don't do the fake shit. You feel me? Like, I don't do that.
And just like I thought, right? Remember when I said that him calling about that nursing gig, it was real suspicious. Okay, it was suspicious from the jump. It was suspicious from the jump. But even the way that he was talking, I'm like, something tells me he got that bitch on the other line. Something tell me he got that bitch on the other line. And I remember when I was telling my roommate this, I was telling her, I'm like, I feel like this is a three-way call. Like, I just feel it off rip. Because, again, he used to do three-way calls with my roommate when he would try to catch AJ up. So it's like, at this point, I can tell. I can tell when this man is like prying for information for a specific reason. So even if it wasn't a three-way call, because let's just say there was no three-way, that bitch was in the room. That bitch was in the room. She knows some way, shape, or form. I'm not dumb. I'm not that damn dumb. Okay? Everything else kind of went over my head. That right there, I'm like, yeah, nah, I have a feeling that this is what's going on. So tell me why. This is how right I was. After we finally get off the phone with Q, after that whole situation, right? There then comes a point in time where we're literally on the phone with Theo. So mind you, I was already texting him, and then we currently were on the phone with Theo. As we were on the phone with Theo, why was Tiana texting him and saying like, oh, you're a fake ass friend, you're this, you're that, blah, blah, blah. Like, just, you know, calling him everything but a child of God, going in on him. And she decided to say that, yeah, your friend roommate, she told on you.
What?
Whole time, again, me and roommate are literally in the same exact room. I heard this whole entire conversation, and the moment that I peeped, oh, so Tiana been saying this, that, and the third, I texted Theo and I let Theo know everything. I can vouch and say, roommate never said anything against Theo, insinuating that Theo was talking bad about her, bad about Q, none of that. None of that. So the gag of it all is that they don't know that I texted Theo. As soon as it was said, as soon as it happened. So if I would have never reached out to Theo, Theo would have never even called us after the fact. Okay. And if it wasn't for the fact that I contacted Theo, 9 times out of 10, he probably would have believed that. And he probably would have contacted roommate like, oh, you was talking about me, da 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 da. Again, we trying to be messy. We're trying to be messy, but trick no good. Now, everyone's in the loop. You are caught. Period. You got caught. And what makes it even worse is that during this time period, too, we had a nice little group chat. So now even the people that you wasn't even talking to on a daily basis, they know about you, too. Quit playing with me, bitch.
So that's spring break, right? So now spring break then came and went. Birthday then came and went. We are now in the month of April getting ready to do our final exams, getting ready to, you know, pack up our stuff and get ready to go home. I'm kicking it with my roommate and I'm kicking it with Theo. And we're outside just chilling, and then this guy comes up to us. He's like really good friends with Theo too. He comes up to us and he says,
What's this I hear about y'all beefing with Tiana and Q?
Huh? Wait a minute, what? Now mind y'all. Like I said, I be out of it. I be so oblivious to what be going on. So it took my birthday situation in order for me to even pique interest in the situation. That's number one. Number two, I only told Theo about Tiana, and I told him about what Q said because apparently like you done stole this man's child, like you done did something, you feel me? But all in all, I just thought if anything there was like an issue between Theo and Tiana. I did not think that it was anything beef related or animosity related going on between party A and party B. I literally did not know that. So this is the first time that it's being brought to my attention that there was animosity to begin with. That's number one. But number two, I don't take that beef word lightly. I heard beef and I got mad. I felt some type of way. I got real defensive and I'm just sitting there like, beef? Beef. That was the exact terminology. They said they was beefing with us. And then that's the other thing too. I'm not even 100% sure if he meant us as in us three or if he just meant my roommate and Theo. But either way it goes, it's like, what do you have beef for? Because to me, beef is like, like it's smoke. Like we could potentially fight. We done all been in the same room plenty of times. It ain't never been no fight. We done been in the same vicinity and people chose to sit on the other side of the room, or when we would pass them and we would say hi, we would either get a dry hi back or we would get no hi. But it was never no beef. It was never no smoke. It was never no nothing. And you walking around campus telling people that we got beef, I felt some type of way. And I'm not even 100% sure if I had anything to do with it. But I felt some type of way. Because I'm like, ain't no motherfucking beef. But again, I was oblivious to any potential animosity. So once that's said, we all go back to me and my roommate's room. And we all just in there collectively talking. And that's when they run me up to speed that, it had been some type of animosity going on between them, like specifically Theo and my roommate and, Tiana and Q.
So when they first started kind of like getting distant with the rest of our group or whatever, there did come like, I think multiple points where Theo and my roommate came to them separately and together. And they came to them and they asked them like, what's the problem? Is there anything wrong? Whatever. And based off of what Theo and my roommate has said, they had said that like, they just remain silent. They're like, no, we don't have any problems. No, there's nothing wrong, da da da. But they were the ones that pretty much caught on to like that animosity before I did. So it had been multiple times where, again, y'all was in the same vicinity. You ain't never get it off your chest. Y'all was in the same vicinity, and it was never, oh, I feel this way, I feel that way, da da da. You were given that opportunity to speak. You never spoke. Then there were even some moments dealing with Theo way before I was aware of that, like I said before, they were trying to like get us alone so that we didn't kick it with Zena and them. So there came a point in time where we all agreed that we were going to go to a party, right? And mind you, they already the types that don't party. We already discussed this. We already knew this, right? So they already the types where they don't really party like that. They kind of sort of do at most do kickbacks. So we're all excited thinking that we all as a group about to go to this party. Me, Zena, my roommate, and like some other dudes that we ended up carpooling with, we go off to the party. We're waiting for Theo. Theo never shows up. We're waiting for Q. Q never shows up. We waiting for Tiana. Tiana never shows up. They were all supposed to be in a car together going to the party. Now, one thing about this party, we ended up not going in because like it low-key was dead. Like the whole situation just looked dead. But we ended up going to like a hookah bar and we just like, had a good time that night regardless. But we still was trying to figure out, okay, where y'all at, hitting them up, trying to figure out where they at. They basically then lied and finessed Theo into thinking that he was going to this party. And they literally sat in the parking lot the whole entire time and smoked. And whenever he would mention a party, they acted like, why you want to go right now? Why you want to leave? Like, that's not even my scene right now. Da, da, da. But again, it was already agreed. It was already said that they were going to do that. So whenever Theo would try to like bring it up, like, hey, are we leaving? Are we leaving? Like, if I would have known that y'all wasn't going, I would have hopped in the car with them. If I would have known that y'all wasn't going, I would have, rode with somebody else, whatever. And apparently when Theo started talking about the party or anything of that nature, then they tried to throw little slick shots when it came to Xena and my roommate and stuff. And apparently it was even commentary about how like we was carpooling with some dudes. First and foremost, my roommate was the one driving. It was her car. So if anything, they was hitching a ride with us. So let's be clear about that. But not only that, it was a situation where it's like, we ended up getting like one extra passenger, and that was like weird because we didn't know about it. But mind you, the person that we was even carpooling with, it was this dude that my roommate was dating at the time and his friends. So it ain't even like, oh, we going on a 3-man, we about to go do this, we about to go do that, whatever. But even then, we're grown as hell. We can do whatever the fuck we want to do. But either way it goes, it's like it was almost like trying to be framed as if like, oh, they just trying to be all up in these dudes' faces and whatever. And that it never gave that. It never gave that. It was never that to begin with. But yeah, like, and even when it came to my roommate, like my roommate was trying to come to Q multiple times too, because again, they originally used to be really, really close. And she started, trying to ask him questions. He's avoiding her. He doesn't want to speak to her. But then not only that, the fact that you back cool with AJ after going on a whole smear campaign for like a year and a half. Where'd that come from? Now they besties again. Like, so she was trying to get to the bottom of everything. Like, what's going on? Like, what's really tea? So the whole entire time that I'm kicking it with them and I'm saying hi to them and I'm just la living my best life, it's been an issue this whole entire time. And they just never said anything to me for whatever reason. I don't know. But they never told me that this happened. It wasn't until that day that they ran me up to speed about them being funny. And apparently if I don't want to spread rumors because this video already low-key messy, I already know, but I could have sworn it was even like a point in time where somebody has sent like a shady text message or something. I don't know. But yeah, like it was just too much. Like it was just too much drama, unnecessary drama. And I'm over here just like not aware of any of this stuff going down. So this is the first time that I'm hearing about any of this. Why did nobody tell me? Because I would have never hung out with them if I knew that this is all what was going on. And that's when all that stuff started to click for me.
AJ was pretty much neutral. He didn't know what was going on. But then eventually we end up talking to AJ, and AJ's talking about they was sitting up talking about us, talking about, oh yeah, they fake. They just act so fake and da-da-da-da. What? Huh? Wait, what? Wait. What is going on here? What's happening? What are we talking about? And y'all, I swear to God, I don't know where my brain was at. I literally just did not observe that there was any situation going on. I just didn't. But once I was brought up to speed and AJ had put in his 2 cents and I'm looking at everything for what it is, I'm like, what? Wait, so they've been mad this whole time? That's what that was about? So I look like I'm playing for both teams. Wait a minute. Y'all, I was flabbergasted. Seriously, I couldn't believe it. But now that I'm aware of the situation, now I'm mad. Now I'm mad. Now I want to fight. Because again, like you talking rah-rah, you acting funny, you being fake, you doing X, Y, and Z. Now I'm mad. Now you done got me mad. Now you done pissed me off. So now I'm like, so what y'all trying to do? I'm looking at Theo. I'm looking at my roommate. I'm like, so we going to the ones? Because that was the dorm that Tiana was staying in. I'm like, we going to the ones? What we doing? Because I'm ready. I don't give a damn. Because, like, we beefing? Okay, let's beef. Fuck it. Like, I don't care. But of course, you know, they was just like, no, it's not that serious, we're just gonna leave them alone, whatever. So I'm like, all right, cool, I'm gonna just leave it alone. But I think that shit is just so weird. Like, I just thought that was so odd that they was behaving that way. Then let's fast forward. We just gonna fast forward into, like, what was that? I don't even know what year that was. It was like 2019, maybe, either 2018, 2019. And obviously, you know, the situation between me and Central. I still haven't done a full-fledged story time about that, but I got academically suspended, and then it was like a whole lot of paperwork issues that were going on, so I ended up eventually not going back to school. But you know, I still kept in touch with a lot of my friends and a lot of the people that I met while I was at Central, and I still was on Central State Twitter, so you know, I was up to speed with a lot. But yeah, so I'm still in contact with Theo, right? I'm still in contact with, like, majority of my friends. So I'm still in contact with Theo. Theo calls me one day. We chatting it up. We catching up with each other. We talking, whatever. And I don't know how we got on the topic, but Theo ends up bringing up that situation, right? And I'm sitting there, like, basically apologizing. I've already apologized to them, but they don't care. But, like, I essentially just apologized all over again, because I'm like, I really feel bad about that situation, because looking back on it in retrospect, it do seem like I was playing both sides, and that's really not what I was trying to do. It's just, I really didn't know that it was anything going on until they started being funny acting a little bit towards me. I didn't realize that they were, like, trying to break the group up and, like, you know, like, get away from certain people. I had no idea until that happened. So then Theo ends up, you know, saying, like,
girl, it's okay, it is what it is.
But then he starts talking, right? And he says,
I think I know why we eventually ended up falling out.
And I'm like, why? He tells me that he had peeped that AJ and Q had been sleeping around. What? What are you talking about? So Theo continues to tell me that he could tell that they were sleeping around based off of how Q was reacting when AJ started showing him a lot of attention when they first met. There came a point in time, and I was there that day, there came a point in time where Theo goes back to his room and AJ decides to walk with him because we all lived in the same dorms together. So he goes with him because he's saying, like, he got to go pick something up, whatever. But then Theo discloses that AJ, you know, kind of gave him a look when they got to Theo's room and basically was trying to, like, not bully his way into the room, but, you know, like, he's basically just like, you know, like, what you trying to do? And Theo was just like, And AJ's like, why not? And he's just like, listen, I don't know what you and Q got going on, but I can tell it's something there, and I don't want any parts. I don't want to participate. I'm cool. So that's what Q was mad about. But the guy in question that got stolen, that was a completely different dude. And the thing is that according to Q, Theo knew that him and that dude were talking, so he felt some type of way when the dude started talking to Theo. Whole time, that dude literally just walked up and started talking to Theo. So if y'all did have something going on, take that up with your invisible man. Honestly, like, honest to God, like, that had nothing to do with anybody, and you just kind of put that responsibility on other people. Like, that just, it wasn't cool. But then the more that I'm talking to Theo, he's pretty much giving me, like, all the tea, all the ins and outs. Things are starting to mesh up, and I started telling him about my theory about Tiana, and I'm just like, I think Tiana felt some type of way about Valentina or Xenia, because with Valentina, like, okay, so this is kind of important to the story, and I probably should have said that earlier, but Valentina and Tiana, they are both plus size women, right? But Valentina is very confident. She was popular on campus. She knew a lot of people. She knew a lot of the frat boys. Like, she was cool. With Tiana was more so like one of them big girls where, like, she don't care about the fact that she big, but she's one of them big girls where she act like an old lady. Like, she's too mature for her age. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if it was like jealousy or if they just naturally didn't get along or whatever, but I noticed that to a degree, I feel like that was the collision between the two. So I feel like Tiana was being childish and trying to act like we was still in high school and was basically trying to get rid of Valentina. But yeah, like, to me, that's what it kind of gave me. And then with Xenia was one of those girls where, like, kind of like me a little bit, where like we just get along with dudes a lot, and unfortunately a lot of them want to sleep with us. I can't help that. But you know, me, you know, as far as me and Xenia go, we just be one of the boys. Like, we just be kicking it. Like, I can't help the fact that they like me, but I thought we had friends. I thought we had friends. So that's our bad. But you know, like, it had to be either one of them. Like, she felt some type of way about one of them too. Because when they weren't in the equation, that's when we were at peace. The moment they got in the equation, it seems like that's when we started having issues, and it just got weird after that. So I was telling him my theory that, like, I think that was the problem with Tiana, and then he goes on and on and on about Q. And I wish I remember the exact conversation that we had, but he goes on and on and on about Q, and he's basically telling me like all these different personality traits that I never fully noticed. And that is when it all clicked. That is when it all just, like, it made so much sense. It was terrible how much sense it made. It was another light bulb moment, y'all. It was. And I ended up calling my roommate shortly after I got off the phone with Theo. And I said, bitch, you ain't gonna believe what I discovered. You ain't gonna believe how much 2 + 2 = 4 right now. You ain't gonna believe it. So she's like,
girl, what you talking about? What's going on?
I said, bitch, I think we got used. I think we got used. I think we got used by Q, and I'm going to tell you why. So number one, let's address the situation with AJ. Obviously, it makes so much sense now why he was actually mad about AJ not coming out. What I think happened was that AJ probably told him that he didn't want a serious relationship because he wasn't out yet. Whole time, that man was out. He just didn't like your ass. Honestly, because again, y'all, if he was in the closet, that glass ass closet, he Windexed that motherfucker every day. Cause he wasn't ducking, he wasn't hiding. He's a terrible person at hide and seek if that's the case, cause he was not hiding. He was not hiding nothing. Okay, let's be clear about that. That man was not hiding. He was not ducking in no closets. That man was open. He just didn't like you, and he just didn't want people to know that y'all mess with each other because he probably knew that you're possessive. Like, it all just makes sense. It all just makes sense. And that whole, like, oh, let me go out and try to expose him, that was to knock him down. That was to expose him. Like, he basically didn't want this man to have no friends, no support system. He tried to ostracize him, basically. Like, he didn't want him to be cool with nobody. But it backfired because, again, we didn't hang out with violently homophobic men. Like, it didn't work in his favor. So it didn't even work with us. You know, like, the whole plan backfired, so he was salty about it. Now, let's talk about me and my roommate. The problem with him when it comes to me and my roommate, where I feel like he was using us, is because during the conversation that I had with Theo, I'm connecting the dots and I'm running it by Theo, and he's basically verifying, like, yep, that's what it sounds like. Yep, that's what it is. That's what happened. Girl, this man basically was using me and my roommate to date the straight men that he had a crush on.
Wait a damn minute. Wait a damn.
That is essentially what this man was doing. So just using my situation with Gumby and Carmelo, it all makes sense. Like, it all makes sense. This man was attracted to Gumby, and that's why he was so pressed for me to like him. That's why he was so pressed for me to work things out with him, because he liked him. When it came to Carmelo, he had a crush on Carmelo. He wanted me to not talk to Carmelo because now he doesn't really like him. He just found more information out about this guy, and he don't see him as being good for me, you know.
Now, don't that sound exactly like what he accused AJ of doing? Okay.
He don't like him no more. It was the same thing with the dude that he set my roommate up with. He was in love with that man. Literally. I remember they used to joke about dating or whatever too, because again, we don't date violently homophobic men. But yeah, we used to hang out with him and they would fake like they was dating. They talked a lot. Like, I don't know if they're still in contact with each other, but they was all cool. He was in love with that man. That's the only reason why he had him and my roommate link up with each other. The guy at the party that I rejected, he wanted me to talk to him because before he even talked to me, he had said like, oh, Tassie, he's cute. Like, this man was using us to date the men that he had a crush on.
So let me say this. Unfortunately, I have been around manipulators a few times recently. And now that I fully understand how manipulative people can be, and after being in my own like emotionally abusive relationship, there's a lot of things that I started to sit back and notice as time went on about Q. So the thing about Q is that Q is basically like any other man, which is sad, but he is like any other man. This man deliberately surrounds himself with women that are in like weird mental spaces or just emotionally damaged, emotionally unavailable, and so on and so forth. The only thing that kept me protected to some degree is the fact that like he spent more time with my roommate, whereas with me, I was with her, but I also like had my own life. I used to always like, you know, go off and do my own thing to a degree. So I didn't get the privilege of really being around him or doing a lot of their shenanigans that much. I usually was just with me, right? But not only that, during this particular time period, I actually was very content. I was very like, you know, I'm good. It wasn't until second semester around my birthday that I started like feeling, you know, kind of like a weird emotion or like almost like an existential crisis, because like that's when the pressure of college like really hit me, and like finances and stuff like that. But for the most part, I was cool. For the most part, I ain't had no problems. I didn't have no worries, no nothing. But when it came to my roommate, not to throw my roommate up under the bus, but she was kind of in like an awkward stage of her life. Because basically, like the only reason why she even came to college to begin with is because she was kind of in that time period of her life where she didn't know what she wanted to do next. And I don't know like the details of every single thing, but there were times where like me and her, we would always like debrief when we got back to the room or whatever. We always like talked really in depth. So like I know to a degree what all she was going through, but I don't know like the full story. You get what I'm saying? So she was already going through stuff. She was a little emotionally damaged, a little bit mentally out of it or whatever. So I came to realize that like, oh, that surprise birthday party that he threw, that was a manipulation tactic. That man was love bombing. That's what that was. That man was love bombing. That man was love bombing like shit. Same thing with AJ. He thought AJ was fragile because, oh, he's in the closet, he's insecure whole time, he just ain't like your ass. That man wasn't ducking. And even with Valentina, there was a short period of time where Valentina and Q was friends with each other because, again, they know each other from back in the day. But they end up having a wonky little friendship, a wonky little relationship too, because, again, Valentina, she's very confident. She's a very confident girl. Very. You can't manipulate her. You can't do nothing to her. So now it's, oh, I don't like her, da-da-da-da. Because he even had his fair share of talking shit about Valentina behind her back too. Yeah. So when it pertains to Tiana, I feel like it was the same thing with Tiana, because again, like that girl was like very insecure. That girl ain't know what she was doing for real, because she probably grew up her whole entire life expecting to be more mature than what she actually was. She then fed into it, and now she think that she like 35 plus grown and sexy whole time we in our early 20s. So you see somebody like Valentina living their life and acting age appropriately, you offended. You see somebody like Xena and she gets male attention unapologetically, you offended. And then I don't know what all her and Theo had between them, because we ain't really get that deep into it, but it's very clear that you've been feeling some type of way about Theo this whole time too, because ain't no way y'all best friends to the point where y'all used to live together and you just randomly switch up like that because you heard something from somebody else. Nah, that don't even sound right, girl. You been had an issue with him. So again, Q fed off of that too. Like he fed off of whatever she had going on too. Like he just tried to build his clique with a bunch of insecure people that he could take advantage of. So yeah, from the jump, from the very beginning, this man has been a manipulator. This man has been weird this whole entire time. And it's just so ridiculous, because it's like, you don't know how to make friends? You don't know how to just be friends with people, bro? Like, that is crazy, man.
Like, I'm still shocked about that to this day, bro. I'm still tripping over that to this day, bro. Like, this man was so calculated, manipulative, and just maniacal. Because I literally, bro, and again, I this is my fault for being this oblivious, I swear to God. But like, the fact that I picked up on none of this this whole entire time, and it was sitting directly in front of my face, it explains everything. And then even with him and his hatred towards gay people, again, he very much could just be trying to be a token gay. He very much could be. But I also came to notice that his ex, who he came out with, like did the whole I have a dream speech with, apparently, when they broke up, that man ended up dating a super flamboyant, feminine gay man. And to this day, this man hates feminine gay men. And I'm talking about feminine to where y'all doing the makeup, the hair, possibly even dressing real feminine. He hates y'all. He hates y'all. He hates y'all because you remind him of the man that the love of his life is dating. Shit like this only happens to me. I swear to God it does. I swear to God it does. Because I legit would have never... You could not pay me in a million years and tell me that this would happen to me. Like, I would have never thought that something like this could happen. But looking at all of that in retrospect, it is just so crazy. Like, this man is controlling. This man is manipulative. And I am so glad that we have lost contact with each other over the years and we just split the way that we split, because this is creepy. Like, it's just all the way creepy. But not only that, that man still views my stories from time to time, and I've been unadded him as a friend. Like, I don't know why he's still on my Snapchat. I have no idea. So yeah, guys, that is another crazy story time about somebody that I used to be friends with, because yeah, this is just the life that I live, apparently. So comment down below how you feel about this situation, because I'm still flabbergasted. Even years later, I still just... It's crazy. And like I said, Spirit told me to tell it for some reason. So I don't even know. I don't even know. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below how you guys feel. If you enjoyed this video, please do not forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. And of course, share if you can. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.